Hello again, my fellow free spirits, over men and over women, dangerous writers. I would like to talk about satire today. Do you like satire? Do you read satire? Write it, perhaps. Not that long ago, satire was very popular in the literary world. It no longer is, and it's very difficult to get it published now. And why is that? I think that's worth talking about in a podcast about dangerous writing. And I was thinking today of talking about a contemporary dangerous writer, or at least one who has been somewhat ostracized and cancelled, let's say. And I thought of talking about the author of Our Parent Who Art in Heaven. That is the little-known English writer, Gary Craig Powell. In other words, me. And if you think that's shameless plugging, I can't prove the contrary, but I don't make any money from my writing, really. I haven't made any money from it. And if anybody buys a copy of my book, I'm going to get, the maximum of $2 or $3 from each copy, and probably not even that. So, that really isn't the reason. But my most recent book is this one, Our Parent Who Art in Heaven, as I said, with a beautiful cover, I think, a sort of Tom Sharpish cover, if any of you know him. This was, the illustration was done by my friend Nick Ward, who I went to school with, in fact. And I thought I'll read a little bit of it to you, and I'll read from the beginning, so there's no need for any introduction, really. This is chapter 1, and it's called As Long As You Make Me Happy. Another blissful day is beginning, Hugh thought, as he made love with his wife that mild morning in March. Yet another in a series of blissful days destined to last forever. Half closed in rapture, Miranda's honey-coloured eyes gazed into his, and she gripped his arms. Hugh saw her as a pre-Raphaelite nymph, lissom and pale, her face pure and plaintive. The purring sound she made was perhaps at variance with her virginal appearance, but Hugh found it both fetching and flattering. As he redoubled his efforts, a faint frown appeared on Miranda's brow, which invariably signalled the approaching cataclysm. Birdsong and the perfume of azalea blossom poured through the open window. It was 8 o'clock. Breakfast was over, and Owen was on his way to Tocqueville Junior High, so Hugh and his wife were free to bellow like cows in labour. They roared and kept roaring and roared more. "Do you think the neighbours heard us?" said Miranda afterwards in her Delta Belle accent. Although she was in her late 20s, her voice was still girlish, soft and high. Hugh collapsed by her side. "Unless they're stone deaf, I should certainly think so." She giggled. He neighed with laughter. "I thought you Brits were buttoned up," she said. "Cold, repressed." "That's the English," Hugh said. "I'm Welsh." "Isn't a Welshman a kind of Englishman?" "So you will insist," Hugh said. "But we're not alike. Look you, I grew up on a dairy farm in Cardigan Bay. My parents spoke little English, and my grandparents none at all." "I know, honey. You've told me tons of times. You're a wild Celt. An uxorious one, he said, relishing the Latinate word. I love you. Her honey-brown eyes glistened. I love you too, she said, stroking his hair. Oh, lucky man, at the pinnacle of happiness, what more could he desire? Only the infinite extension of that happiness. And this was where, like most mortals, he made a fatal mistake. Hugh was intelligent and cultivated, but not, sad to say, a wise man, although he was not far off 50. The fates bless the virtuous with happiness, he believed. Forever, naturally. I hope you will always stay with me, he said, confident of her response. Did she frown or sigh? Not at all. I'll never leave you, she said, still smiling, but with a glassy look in her eyes, as long as you make me happy. Faintly at first, Hugh heard the sinister bowing of basses and cellos, that ominous sawing that often presages a storm in the early films of Ingmar Bergman. Now he knew his wife's love was conditional, as long as you make me happy. It was no different, of course, from the attitude of most people in these enlightened times. You stay with a partner just so long as it is pleasurable or to your advantage. Then you break the contract and seek another, better companion. It is commerce. Each of us has a quantifiable market value. And yet Hugh had believed, with a naivety that stunned him now, that his paragon of a wife loved him as he loved her, without reservations, for as long as they lived. That was what they had vowed on their wedding day beside the white columns of the mansion in the Delta. I take thee, Hugh, to be my wedded husband, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, until death do us part. What, she said, sitting up, what's that funny little smile? Had she meant those words? Apparently not. Nothing. Don't lie to me. It's that twisted, bitter smile you have sometimes. I can't help it, my love. He turned away to hide the tears in his eyes. Did I say something wrong? I told you I won't leave you, silly, as long as I make you happy. Don't worry about that. You do make me happy. You always will. She kissed his lips, briskly, with that glassy look again. You must believe her, he told himself. But could he still do so? For 7 years, he had been happy in this American Eden, and now the bearded tyrant of the Old Testament was kicking them out. What had Eve murmured to Adam as she handed him the apple, or whatever it was? I'll always love you, as long as you make me happy. But woe betide you if you ever bore me. Was it something like that? Was that the darker part of primordial knowledge? Not simply of our mortality, which is bearable, but of the faithlessness of those we love, which is not. So that's the first few pages, just gives you an idea of one of the big conflicts in the book. It's really about a man in the 2000s coming to terms with massive changes in the relations between the sexes, and the two conflicts that Hugh has are with his wife, whose love he discovers is much more conditional than he supposed, and with his boss, who's the redoubtable Frieda Schamberger, who really expects him to toe a sort of feminist line, which Hugh doesn't do, at least not to her satisfaction. There's a satire. It's supposed to be funny. The beginning is kind of that little bit is kind of serious. If anyone shows any interest in this, I may read a more obviously comic section next time I read from the book, if I do at all. Satire has gone out of fashion, I would say, because our elites are no longer willing to take criticism, and satire is very much about poking fun at the people in power. And behind the rhetoric of not offending people, not hurting people's feelings, being kind, compassionate, and so on, what's really behind that is an unwillingness to take any criticism at all, because they know that they're vulnerable and they don't want to be laughed at. And this book, Our Parent in Heaven, is very much it's a parody, really, of academic life, these days, woke academic life. And that's my recommendation for the book. And goodbye, fellow free spirits.